So, today's lesson is going to be on resume building. So go ahead and move the slide for me. Thank you. The goal of today's lesson is the learner will correctly be able to create a resume using their personal information by utilizing a chosen outline by the end of the lesson. Alright, so what is a resume, what are they for, and why are they important? A resume is how one communicates their personal information, life and career experience, and interests in order to obtain a job. A resume is the first thing that your employer sees, and it's basically just like an introduction about you. Resume is their first impression. They'll use the software to sort through all the information because, like, let's say you're applying for a job and they have 120 applicants. They're not going to read every resume, so they use the software, and the software picks out keywords. It picks out how it looks. So all those things are important. And there's a lot more to a resume than just jotting down information and letting them know your experience. And a resume is important because it helps increase your odds of landing a position. What's in a resume?
Tell us!
I will! Thank you, Christina. I love the enthusiasm. Alright, so what you'll need is your contact details, an introduction, educational background, work history, relevant skills and interests, volunteer work, certificates and achievements, and references. There are multiple types of resumes as well, but we're only going to focus today on a chronological resume, which means that everything is going to be laid out in time order. It's the most common type of resume as well, so this one will probably be most useful to utilize when you're looking for jobs. Anybody have any questions?
Happens if you've never volunteered anywhere.
Well, if you've never volunteered anywhere, that one specifically you can leave out. It's not completely necessary. These are just things that if you have volunteered, if you're like, hey, I picked up trash at my school. I don't know, waited with my teacher to make sure, like, for instance, when I was in high school, my senior year, I didn't have a sixth period. So instead, I hung out with my teacher and I helped her with her class. That can be considered volunteer work. So it's like little things you do that, when you use your time in order to help someone else, you can consider it volunteer work. And as far as work history goes, not everybody, especially like talking to you guys, I know you two have had a job, you haven't had a job yet. So work history is not going to be relevant for everybody, especially when you're first starting. But you can use things like babysitting, like yard work around your neighborhood, like different jobs that you've still done. You can also list things like ROTC as like in your like part of your educational background or your skills and interests or just any special work you've done kind of thing. So like stuff like that, it'll help build your resume. Next slide. Alright, so how to put your best foot forward when all you have is a piece of paper to speak for you. Piece of paper being your resume. Alright, so you can demonstrate the best part, demonstrate your best practices of building your resume by utilizing a thesaurus to elevate your language. Now, don't go too far with this because, yes, you can sound smarter, but then when people ask you questions in your job interview, hey, it says you were an anticoagulant of something, blah, 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 and you're like, I'm on what? So you want to make sure that you're utilizing the correct language that fits you. So that when people ask you about your job experience, your volunteer work, your skills and interests, you're not basically lying on your resume. So you also want to make sure that you're remaining professional and consistent throughout your resume, and we'll talk a little bit about that later on. And you want to highlight key experiences that would be beneficial to the position you want. Alright, does everybody know what they need?
No.
Okay, go ahead, next slide. I know this one's a little bit of a doozy, but well, I highlighted the most important stuff in blue if that helps. So input keywords to stand out. So the first one is problem solving. You want the person that's going to hire you know that you're good at problem solving, that you've worked in a team, that you have the second one, leadership, that you can write well, or that you have some type of written communication, since you won't always be talking to people like your most higher ups. They want to know that you can write to them if you have issues. Again, team building and performance and productivity improvement, or like that you can keep working on and continuing to grow while you're working for them. Okay, so I'm going to go over kind of some of the blue stuff so that you guys know what the most important part of each aspect is. So as far as problem solving goes, so some of the important stuff is in blue, right? So for problem solving, job seekers need to display their strengths in their resume because it illustrates their ability to approach challenges and solve them. Problem solving is a skill used by every employee, and when you add that you are a problem solver in your resume, then employers see that, then they take in, they're like, okay, they're a problem solver, then they fit one part of the bill of being an employee with us. For leadership, they want employees that process skills associated with good leaders. Employees need to be able to demonstrate confidence in making decisions, good listening skills, and the ability to be a team leader. Go-getters. Go-getters always get jobs. So, some important key takeaways for leadership is they want people who show up with confidence. They want people who, if there's an emergency, like when I worked at the theater, there was always a fear of emergencies happening, or if when power went out, we had to get people out. We want people who are willing to stand up and help other people out, take the reins if something goes wrong, because things do go wrong when you're at work. Okay? Great communication. This is one of the strongest skills that HR looks for. The majority of communication between employees and their management is through writing, especially a lot more high up. Otherwise, you're usually talking one-on-one with your manager, but in a lot of cases, if it's not your direct manager, someone above them, occasionally you'll have to write to them. They want to know that you are able to write to them, and that you can communicate your problems or anything accurately with ease, and that makes sense. Team building is important. HRs will see this, and will see that you're able to collaborate with your coworkers and meet company objectives. And performance and productivity improvement. They want to make sure that you've contributed to the success of previous companies. They want to see your school programs or your education, that you had success in those things, or contributed to the success of those things. They also want to know that, or want to see that you can improve upon and succeed within their company. Alright, so this is an example of the importance of keywords. So in blue right here, it's just something that's in someone's resume. So in the resume it says, a detail-oriented and qualified senior architect who excels in developing construction drawings, creating 3D models, and conducting architectural research and analysis. So out of we'll say out of 20 words, it took 7 words out of that. So the smaller that sentence is, the less words they take out. If you don't use any words that the software picks up on, it's going to say you basically wrote nothing. It's meaningless. Toss the resume. Okay? So some of the words that it picked up on were detail-oriented, qualified, senior architect, construction drawings, 3D models, research, analysis. Okay? So all things that are either adjectives about you and what you can do, what you have done, projects you worked with. Alright, so these are some tips on professionalism. Okay? So what your resume looks like and how it's organized are some of the most important things that are used, or some of the things that are used to weed out resumes during the early stages of a review. So like I said earlier about that software is going to pick up on if you have too much white space, if there's inconsistencies with your font, with the size, the color, that kind of, even like the menial tiny things it'll pick up on. It'll tell the person, nope, throw it away, not good. Okay, so they'll be looking at your level of professionalism, and here are 6 areas to think about when creating a professional resume. So the first one is tone. So tone's important because you want to use words like I do instead of I am, or I consider myself to be, because these will make your resume sound stronger. Also action verbs describe situations, and they are result and concrete. It's something that they can like really focus on. You did this, you can do this for me in my company. Spelling and grammar. Reviewers feel strongly enough about this that they generally will not even look at a resume if they see misspelled words or grammatical errors. Luckily, a lot of resumes are being done online, so you have, word. You have the ability to do the word check or whatever. I forget what it's called.
Autocorrect.
Spelling check. There you go. Spelling check. It'll do spell check for you. Consistency is also important. So in bold here are some really important consistency issues that people see within resumes. So capitalization, punctuation, headings, fonts, and tense usage. So tense, specifically the tense usage. You see, if you want to say, if you're speaking totally in past tense because you worked at these jobs in the past, you want to make sure you're using past tense. Not saying, I am sweeping the floor right now and washing dishes. I say, I have swept the floor and washed the dishes. You also want to make sure, like I said before, that you are staying accurate and honest in your resume, because that'll matter mostly in the interview. In the interview, you don't want to come off like you're lied completely in your resume. You want to make sure that they can trust you, and they want to be able to trust you. They won't hire you if they feel otherwise. Design also matters. Just don't go overboard. Make it too poppy, because then you look unprofessional if that's the case. And then you also want to keep it concise, and you want to limit your resume to 1 to 2 pages at the most. Preferably nowadays it's more than 1 page. So the do's. Do highlight your most relevant experience. So it says the rule number 1 of resume writing is that you should be turning in a different version for each role you apply to, tailored and targeted to the position. After all, your resume should demonstrate you have a specific set of skills, experiences, and accomplishments necessary to the job, not just a set experience or skill. So you want to make it easy for the hiring manager to see why you are a right fit. So if you're applying for a job where you're like a host, then you want to highlight in your resume that you were really good at customer service, and you worked a customer service position where you had to talk to customers on a daily basis kind of thing. Next one, do show how you moved up or around at past companies. So Marissa's a really good example of this, because it's called cross-training. So she cross-trained from what was it?
Courtesy clerk.
Courtesy clerk, or shopper merchandiser to cashier. So you want to make sure that you're putting that in your resume. And it shows that you want to move up or have mobility within a company. It also shows that you can grow, that you can be more useful to them, and that's stuff that they want to see. Lastly, do consider a creative or digital resume. So I know for you we're gonna do a paper resume today, but in the future, like it's really useful to have a pop flair, something that's eye-catching, something that makes you stand out, to use a format that's already available, and it also helps keep you organized. Next slide. The don'ts. Alright, don't include anything that could be used against you as far as discrimination goes. So when you apply for a job, they specifically tell you they're not going to discriminate. It's true, it's legal to discriminate for anybody for a job, but don't include stuff that could be an unconscious bias. Unconscious bias being female, unconscious bias being your age, unconscious bias being politics, religion, all that stuff. It's very important that you keep it separate. They're hiring you for what you can do, not what you look like, not your age, not anything else. Okay? So you want to keep that stuff out.
That was really well said.
Alright, so don't freak out if you have no relevant experience. So, like I said before, whether you're fresh out of college or switching to a brand new industry, you can help bolster your lack of relevant work experience by listing your transferable skills, related side projects, and relevant coursework. So this one's really important for you, specifically. Okay? Well, you haven't had a job yet. It's not a bad thing. It's just a thing.
No, I feel
Everybody-
sorry, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, I was like, everybody starts somewhere. So for you specifically, you might want to take a note on this. It's some things you can use instead: transferable skills, side projects, relevant coursework. Lastly, don't include random, unrelated, or off-putting hobbies. So in this specific example, they were like, don't use your Dungeons and Dragons club. It's,
D&D.
yeah, D&D. It's not necessarily, okay? You can like include your hobbies, like video gaming. You want to keep it brief and general. Don't go overboard and be like, oh, I'm a super dungeon master. Okay, you don't need all that. It's not necessary unless you have a really cool story, and that'll help you get there. And next, man, you're so great. We get a round of applause for Marissa. All right, one last important note. You don't need to have a job to have, I'm so sorry. You don't need to have had job experience that relates to the position you're gunning for. There are relevant activities that you do in school or even at home that could be utilized in both your resume and mentioned at job interview. Some examples are JROTC, ROTC, president, vice president, secretary, or treasurer of a school, club, or association, being the founder of a club, babysitting, tutoring others. All of those things are really relevant. They're important. They're skills, or they're things you've done that have helped you grow a skill. So all of these examples have taught you something about either responsibility, work ethic, diligence, and creativity. And that's why you can include them in your resume, because they show those things that you put in, using what we know. So let's take a closer look. Which resumes are good, which are bad, and which could be improved, and why. What's important in a resume? So this is an activity, okay? So I'm gonna give you some resumes, and I want you guys to write down 3 reasons each resume is good, bad, or needs work, and why. And I also want you to list important characteristics of a resume. So Nathan, can you pass over? Nope, not yet.
I was moving the computer.
Thank you, sir. Alright. So, I even included my resume because we're going to pick it apart. Okay? So you guys can pick. We won't go over these, but yeah. So go ahead and pick out of these resumes what you think they're good, why they're bad, and what can you include. You need 3 things for each. Okay?
Each of these? Like every single one of them?
No, really.
And you guys, it's like a working together activity, so.
Yeah, no, I don't.
You got a question?
No.
Do you see anything about it that's good or bad?
Well, it's not like I'm a resume master or something, but I wouldn't personally. I feel like I wouldn't put these things.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I would put, like, I don't know, some of these. I would have kept the budgeting and the self-motivation and, like, the mentorship and, like, adaptability, but I feel like the bar skills on how you are on them isn't necessary.
I kind of agree with you there. So this would be, what do you think the issue is with this specifically?
I just feel like it's not necessary for them to know how you feel you are on those skills. I feel like you are putting your skills down, not for them to know your judgment kind of idea. Like, I feel like they will judge you on those skills when you join them, less them needing to know how you feel you are on those. So I feel like you should put them down, because I'm sure it'll help with whatever they're trying to get career-wise,
So it'd be better to
But-
just list them kind of thing
instead of rating yourself on how good you are on them. 'Cause I feel like rating yourself on them is not what they're going to look at. They're just going to look at what you are good at, what you put yourself down as. Not a scale chart on, like, 1 to 10, how good you are.
What else about this resume do you think?
I think it's really clustered, but at the same time, it also could be just the layout of it. Like, I'm sure they wouldn't really care.
What about you, Christina? Looking at this one, do you see anything that could be improved on, that's good, that's bad?
I don't know, I'm not looking at it.
There you go. That's it. Let's go back to it.
But
so
I
you can
was
look at
already
it.
on that one.
Wait, well, we're looking at it
But you
together.
told me I have to write down 3 for each one.
Said we.
Well, I need to write down more for each diet one.
That's fine. You can.
See, I like this one. This just says it's fluent in that language instead of, oh, I'm like a 5 out of 10 in Spanish and English. Like, why does that matter?
Do you want to write down some of the things we said too? Go ahead, you got this. I believe in you. How do you write down some things too?
I'm about to pass out.
You can do it. I believe in you.
Okay, good if you do that.
There's no name.
Hey, isn't that something bad about it?
Yeah.
Look, this is a fake resume.
I'm not sure if
These
there's.
are real resumes. I took them off of online. Like someone made these.
Well, then they didn't put their address or their email or anything like that.
I mean, you kind of get the gist. But I mean, in retrospect, they really didn't put anywhere for their name. But they do have stuff for like a phone number or an email or a street address.
Well, they could have just put from right here their name.
Just write it down.
Okay. 3 things, right? Cha-ching, done.
For each of them.
I think about summed it up. They all look the same. Why is her accomplishments are being told that she's a good dance instructor? What does that have to do with this?
Look at her hobbies. She put down so many weird, random hobbies. She did not have to go that in depth on what she does.
She also is really bad with her grammar because it's all underlined in red. So, I mean, so you clearly do not spell check.
Mm-hmm. You guys are doing a good job of pinpointing a lot of the stuff we went over. So, issues, right? Font is an issue.
Color, picture.
The picture is an issue. Why is the picture an issue?
Because that's not a professional photo.
Also, if we go back to this, it gives the opportunity for discrimination, right?
She also put that her status is single.
Status single, that's
in her religion.
See, all those things are you can discriminate against. So, or have an implicit bias. We don't have those in there. What else?
Well, it just looks like it should be on
that one looks
the
very professional.
Walmart board. Or missing.
Which one?
The one under that.
This
yes,
one?
that one looks very professional.
I feel like this one is unnecessarily too long, and I would not want to sit there. Sorry.
No, that's good. It's exactly what I wanted. So yeah, even mine, it could use some work.
See, I like how you summarize your skills here and then drag it out.
Mm-hmm.
That's very nice. I think it's very goodly organized and spaced out. Just maybe you just have a lot of work experience,
Too much
so it's like there. I feel like
I can condense
because you could have summarized a little bit more on just what you did at those jobs, but at the same time you did. It's just because you worked. You have a lot of work experience. I think this was very well laid out. It's just could be condensed more.
And then, what did you say about this one again?
I said this one shouldn't be. She shouldn't be rating herself on her key skills, because that's not what they're going to be looking for. Is how she feels she is 1 out of 10 speaking Spanish English. I feel like it, like in this one, where it says fluent in Spanish, English, and French. That one could have been not graphed and stuff, and rated herself. It also has no contact information put down. So how are they supposed to contact? No name information either.
What else do you think is wrong with this one, Ethan? Is there anything else you see that's not quite up to par that you would want to improve on your own resume?
I haven't looked at this one yet.
You haven't looked at that one yet?
No.
Well, we'll give you a minute.
Please don't.
What do you think about this one?
I like it. I think that one looks really professional. I think it has a lot of key information.
I also think this one's good because it's summed up, but it's also fitting the one-page attire and stuff like that.
There you go.
I think you taught us very well, Miss Mooney. I like that it's not that lengthy, but it's missing a lot. Well, it looks good at least. It gets point for looking good for the presentation part. But other than that, it's missing a lot of the stuff that you would need. Like, it only has down like 3 things, like professional experience, education, additional skills.
So
I don't
it
have
could
much
use
to
more
say.
information.
Yes.
It needs more of the key details.
Yes.
Like, how is it going to help team building and performance and productivity and written communication and leadership? Where's the dang leadership?
Basically how they're going to improve their workplace by
And then,
having them.
what did you find when you looked at this one a little more?
Right here, I'm not really sure why, but they don't really need the zip code here.
Alright. So your address is important because it shows if somebody can get to their job. So you live in 85641, right? And you want a job in 85719. Do you have a job? Do you have a car, I mean? Do you have a car? Do you have a way to get gas? Do you have...
It's liability.
Yeah, do you have reliable transportation to get that far?
Mm.
If you live in 85... What did I say we live in? 85641, whatever.
Yeah.
85461, whatever. Are you... And you want a job that's in the zip code? You're more likely, even if you don't have a car, to be able to get to work because you can walk there. That kind of stuff. So that stuff is important, and they will look for that. What else did you think?
I don't want to say anything.
No, you're doing good. That was a good point. That's something to learn from.
I'm not really sure. I'm guessing they didn't put like their actual email, street, city, state, or zip code, or link or anything. They didn't do that.
So you would want to add that. I also want to point out that even though this one looks pretty good, it's not having that consistency or professionalism that we're asking for. So something you notice here is it's missing a lot of capitalizations, and especially their subtitles. Those are stuff that we want in ours. We want capitalizations as in our the first word, the subtitles, that kind of stuff. Proper nouns. So we want to make sure that looks good. Also, there's inconsistency with like volunteer work. You want to make sure that all the subtitles are all the same color.
Yeah. I completely agree, Miss Mooney.
Yes. Thank you. All right. Does everybody feel good?
I still don't think it's a bad format, though. They just had information that they needed.
Yeah, like this one. So, because everybody liked how this one looked, right?
Yes.
I think this one also looks good. It's visually appealing. The only thing is it needs to work on a little bit of
Because it
professionalism.
has mature color
It's
coding.
talking
and all
the
that stuff,
talk, but
format-wise.
it's not walking the walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Strong man.
All right.
I don't know.
So we're gonna go ahead and move on.
Are we done?
No.
How much longer?
You're gonna create our own resume.
We
learn
have
to
about 10 minutes until a bell rings. So we're gonna spend the last 10 minutes making it yours. So I want you to go ahead and now make your own resume. This is when you can use your laptop. So luckily for you guys, you can use a format. Google Docs specifically has formats that you can use. And then you guys can use any of these as your ideas, right? If you want to look at that format and see if there's anything you like. I'm going to go ahead and veto this. No one thought this was a good one, so please don't make it look like this. Okay? And then go ahead. You can do that as well. Alright, Nathan.
I need a different chair. My butt.
So I'm going to go down so you can finalize me.
My butt hurts almost tighter than jeans.
So you can, these are some resume outlines you can choose from, okay? I'm going to help you out. Thank you. Nice.
First thing it says, hello, I'm your name. Okay.
Yeah, so you're going to
Okay.
good job working on your text. Just come with me.
freaking back to something real quick.
So let me know if you have questions.
You don't have to tell me anything, princess. I heard enough last night. You heard what I said? Every word. Oh, I understand. Like you said, who can love a hideous, ugly beast? Yeah, well, it does. Ah, right on. Princess, I've brought you a little something. What is this? Princess Fiona. As promised. Now hand it over. Very well, Ogre. Eat your slop. Clear out.
Do
Before I change my mind.
you know any more?
Forgive me.
Like a story line?
I do. I just don't have them memorized. But
I've never
Well, we can add that later. No worries. So go ahead and delete it for now.
I have your farm.
Oh, no. Forgive me, my lord, for I was just saying short. Farewell.
Oh, that is so sweet. You don't have to waste good manners on it. All I ask you is,
You're right.
Princess Fiona, you could compare flawless skill. I ask your hand in marriage. Will you be the perfect bride for the perfect groom?
Lord Farquaad, I accept. Nothing would make...
Excellent! I'll start the plan. But tomorrow we head.
No! I mean, why wait? Let's get married today. Before sunset.
I'm sorry. You're right. The sooner the better. There's so much to do. There's a king of the king. And yes, and there's the captain. I'm not the guest.
Since it's students, I want you to think of with some things in school and here that you've done that are that you think you're really good at. Like are there any classes you're really good at?
You're great pals, aren't you? Now, you two are such good friends. Why don't you all go home? Hey, I told you, didn't I? You're not coming home with me. I live alone. My swamp. Me. Nobody else. Understand? Nobody. Especially you.
What?
Gigantic, annoying, fucking nose. Yeah, you know what? You've gone wrong.
Those are good. What else?
hey, real quick, you guys have it now?
So I think for video games specifically, I think that would go better under something like
No, then I don't know. Just only got those two things.
are you good at writing at all? Reading, math?
No.
Yeah, but just because you don't have that great penmanship doesn't mean that you don't have good writing skills.
I still got it.
So maybe skip it for now. Go on to the next. Don't forget you can use stuff you're doing in school for your experience. How's it going, Marissa? How you doing, Kiki?
Yeah.
I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm doing it. I'm getting it done. Please don't yell at me.
Get out of here.
Fall over.
I think you're doing a good job. So right here, instead of explaining how long you worked there, if it was good, you want to explain what you did there and what kind of your skills that you learned there. So you learned some food prep. What you got, Haley?
I hate that again. I hate that again. Please don't come back.
Sounds fun.
I don't like it. I'll hire you once.
It's not necessary, so it's something that you can have instead. Maybe are some references, so when you go to school, you can ask your teachers for like a recommendation letter or a letter explaining your character and how they feel that you do. I know you're in school right now. Why don't you put in some education?
Yep.
You're in school now, so education should be easy to fill out.
I guess. Don't need help.
No, you're in high school. So you just mentioned that you're in high school and which school. And then instead of degree, you'll put present.
Oh. I always just click I'm a high school graduate.
Do we have to put like our elementary school and all that?
No, just more recent schooling. High school is important because a lot of times for jobs you need at least a GED or your high school diploma. But then there's also other jobs that require at least an associate's or require at least a bachelor's. So it's something
When did I go into? What year did I go into high school?
2019. I believe.
I don't think you went into it was 19.
2021.
Yeah, I'm sure it was 2020 because you're only a sophomore. 2021, 2022, yeah, it would be 2020. Yeah. I have a few errors, but if it was on a computer, they would be erased. So just
Yeah, when we type it up, it'll look back.
we type it up.
When we type it.
I know. It would look a lot better.
So, so for construction and your JROTC, go ahead and put that under experience. Because it's not necessarily your education, those are experiences within your education. So I put those
For
under
award,
JROTC, construction.
can I put down that like in middle school I got an award for being like the nicest, kindest person?
I mean, it's an award you got. You can say you had a personality award. That'll help with like customer service.
The last award I got was when I was in 7th grade and got high on a roll.
Oh, I got high on that
Dropped
too.
from there.
Also, attendance words are really good to put down because it shows that you're punctual. I know you are.
I'm very punctual at work.
Yes, that worked.
School's depressing. Okay.
Alright, guys, 3 more minutes. I know, you're doing great.
I'm done.
You're done? You mind if we take a look?
No, 'cause I don't want to improve it. I'm done. I did it. Good. I put my mommy's phone number.
I don't know if creative director is.
That was just there. I don't know what to say.
There you go.
Student.
There you go. That works. Good job. Any other questions?
Well, I think my mom called me out.
Oh my gosh. Hold on.
This was the best teaching experience ever. Thanks, Miss Mooney.
Alright, so before the bell rings, I do want to just let you guys know that tomorrow we're going to be doing our final draft of these. We're doing our final draft, okay? And then you'll turn them into me. And we're going to go over, before we do our final draft, we're going to go over some of the mistakes that were made, what we can improve on, work on the elevated language, and then we'll have a final draft to turn in. Sound good? Alright. We'll let you finish up. We've got 30 more seconds. Go ahead and pack up your bags. Get ready to go.
Thanks, Miss Mooney.
Ting. Alright, thank you guys for working
I feel
hard
like we should have
today.
all said it at once.
1, 2, 3. Thanks, Miss Mooney.
I'm going to bed.
Thank you guys. You're amazing.